Why does nobody care about your goals until after you've succeeded? Most of us have been on Instagram looking at the kid who blows 5 funded accounts at a time day trading, or the kid who creates a dropshipping store selling glow-in-the-dark balls, but the older I get, the more I just end up wondering why that was ever even laughable in the first place. I mean, really think about it. This kid is chasing his dreams, and yeah, that might mean that he's gonna look stupid sometimes, but in the end, he still decided to start. Meanwhile, the person that was judging him came across his reel after doom scrolling for 3 hours. I mean, that's kind of like making fun of someone for eating healthy when you're 300 pounds. Like, you don't really come from any place of authority, and that's really when it hit me. That's exactly what it's about, authority. I remember when I first started going to the gym, I was super skinny with a six-pack, and I just wanted people to notice me so badly, even though I'd only been going for a couple of days. The reality was I had really done nothing to really earn that attention or respect, and most people do this exact same thing. They go to Gymshark, buy the 7 outfits, start the low-carb diet, buy the protein powder, take the IG gym selfies, and then when no one notices the results, they give up. Then they come back and then they get that 3 a.m. motivation, and then boom, they're back in the gym 3 months later. But let's change that perspective for a second. We've all walked into the gym and seen that absolutely massive guy that clearly has been putting in the work for years. Do you think he was repeating that cycle? Definitely not. And that's really when something clicked. The old guy never needed the validation in the first place. He just knew that if he did what he was supposed to be doing, tracking the macros, sticking to the split, showing up, he would just have the results, and the validation would come naturally because of a result that most people don't have. What's interesting is people rarely ask how hard you work. They don't see the hours of YouTube videos you've watched about keeping retention. They just see the million views with perfect editing. The reality is when you let people see your progress, they don't really care unless you've made it. So stop asking for respect and just let people see the results, because ultimately, that will show more than anything you could actually say. We've all listened to the friend that talks about learning day trading, or the YouTube videos he watched on creating the perfect thumbnail, but what we actually responded to was the payout, or the YouTube play button. Most people don't realize value creates confidence, not the other way around. When you've been grinding for months in the gym and then you finally see your abs, you appreciate it because you know the sacrifice that it took to get there. You measured your macros, shut up when you didn't want to, and just ultimately took the hard road, and that's why you have the confidence. You went against the grain and really just got rewarded for it. The thing is though, if all of that's true, then there are some questions that we really need to be asking, like, why do we even care what people think about what we're doing with our lives? I mean, if no one's gonna notice you until you've got on the Richard Mille, then why do you really care if you're wearing a Walmart watch? Secondly, why do we talk about our goals instead of just going out and achieving them? I mean, seriously, if it's gonna take you 3 months to get a six-pack, why are you wasting time saying you'll start next week? The sooner you start, the quicker you're going to get the result that you say you want. And I think the final question that I really need to ask is, why do people try to create temporary confidence when you could create long-lasting confidence? Why would you watch a YouTube video on how to talk to girls if you could just go out and do it so it's easier the next time? But why does this happen? The thing is, people just notice usefulness. Everyone remembers the friend who's always there. Everyone watches the guy who makes the mysterious money online. Everyone wants advice from the Jack Gym rat. People also just remember people that help them. Going back to the example I mentioned literally a second ago, who would you rather have as your friend? The spoiled daddy's money rich kid who only brings his dad's boat to the table? Or a friend who's poor but is always there when you need him? I think the harshest reality people need to accept is being average is easier to replace than ever. We've all seen a girl leave her boyfriend for Chad. I mean, honestly, a lot of us have even been there, including myself. But you really can't even blame the girl at the end of the day, because if you're like every other guy, then what's really special about you? And I think that's really the key, becoming special. Respect really is a lagging indicator because it only comes after when you've made yourself special. If you have attributes that make you a 1% man, then by definition, you're very rare. The thing is, once you've become rare and you know it, you start to move differently. You stop caring about what the gym baddies think about you. You stop caring about your day ones that made fun of you for starting a YouTube channel. You just do you. Society doesn't care if you're successful if no value is added. I mean, look at OnlyFans. Do people really value Sophie Rain as a person? But the guy who can consistently pull day trading payouts, he doesn't really have to just explain himself. His new car, his Miami lifestyle, and hot girlfriend kind of just do all of that for them. I think the biggest problem for most people is they don't even really know how to reach that stage. And really, I've noticed that it just comes down to simple but detrimental issues. If you want recognition immediately, typically when you're telling everyone how your lock-in starts tomorrow, and then you're buying all the gym clothes, the protein powder, and it makes you actually think that you've done something important, but you haven't. And it fries your dopamine receptors, leaving you with no discipline to actually do the work. Whenever you avoid difficult skills, you can't really develop the ones that you actually need to succeed. It would be like editing a YouTube video for 10 hours, then you're not putting a thumbnail in the video because you're too lazy. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. When you constantly consume content instead of producing it, you build your whole life around being lazy and complacent to a point where actually doing work just ruins your day. I mean, really, there's nothing harder than starting your day off with an hour of doom scrolling and then actually trying to get work done. But really, I think the most dangerous one is thinking that your potential is enough. I've personally had several friends start YouTube channels, and I'll go watch their videos, and usually they look like this: minimal editing, bad commentary, and bad gameplay quality. But they believe that it's enough because most people wouldn't even do that. And they're actually right, but what they're not realizing is the people that truly win go above and beyond. The harsh reality is that no one owes you attention, but the reality is there are going to be people that work for that attention, and then there's going to be people that just do just enough to get by. The people that do just enough will become irrelevant and will constantly feel less than. But the guy who does what he needs to do, the guy that works the 8-hour shift and then comes home to work another 4 hours on the side hustle, he's going to be overworked and tired all the time. But one day, he's going to reap the rewards of all of it. He's going to go from people laughing at his YouTube channel to his old day ones calling him, asking for them to be put on. The reality is you can't fail until you quit. So if you consistently outwork everyone, eventually the work's going to pay off. Value is rarely ignored forever. Thing is, we really don't want to be noticed, we just want to matter. But the only way that you really get that result is just by putting your head down and just doing the work that you're putting off. We've all been in the situation where we've needed to go to the gym and we really don't want to, but we go anyway. Have you honestly ever regretted that workout after? Definitely not. Maybe the reason that you feel invisible isn't because nobody sees you, but rather because you haven't built a life worth paying attention to. But honestly, that's great, because if nobody's watching, then who cares what mistakes you make? In fact, honestly, try to fail as fast as possible to learn as fast as you can. If nobody's watching, who cares how many funded accounts you blow, how many views you get on a YouTube video, how little you've made off TikTok Shop? You're failing without an audience anyway. The only question you need to be asking yourself is, what problem did you solve better than yesterday? If you can't answer that because you spent all of yesterday sitting in bed watching Netflix, then I think you probably get the point. I've said it several times, but nobody is actively ignoring you. People are just responding to value. And the moment that you see that in everything in life, everything will change.